The morning of February 15th, 2013 started out just like any other morning. I kissed the kids goodbye, sent them off to school, got myself a hot cup of coffee, and sat down to catch up on the current events. This day was not like every other day.
Бомбардировка, подготовка. Охренеть. Где-то упал. Слышишь? Это знаешь, что было? Это он сверхзвуковой, это похоже астероид. Это звуковая волна, астероид. Реально.
Сегодня какой-то астероид должен быть, опасный Земли.
Куда ты выебал? Слушай, он куда-то все-таки попал. Потому что только звук дошел, Коля. Куда прятался? Это звук дошел. А, звук дошел. Слушай.
Ну, я так жутко.
Ебать, кровь.
Это взрывная волна дошла, видимо.
Что случилось?
Did that scare the crap out of you? It scared me, but it also fascinated me at the same time, and it still does to this day. So let's talk about what happened. Meteorites are named for where they fall, and this one is named Chelyabinsk, but it is often lovingly shortened to Chely. This is not another documentary drenched in science. This is what I remember about Chely, starting from the very seconds before it entered our atmosphere. Why didn't we see it coming? To the moments when it was burning through our atmosphere. Why did it make so many sonic booms? All the way to when it landed to today. Chely came from the direction of the sun. So if you've ever played baseball or any kind of outdoor sports, when you try to catch a ball and the sun is in your eye, you just can't see the ball. Like, you saw it when it left the pitcher's hand, but as soon as it got up into the sky and you had to look up towards the sun, you can't keep a focus on it anymore. And that's exactly how Chely came and surprised us the way it did. We can look out and see a lot of space and see a lot of things that are coming. In fact, we were all looking the other way that day. There was a near-Earth asteroid that day, an asteroid flyby, and anybody who had a telescope that day had it pointed literally the other direction, watching the flyby of asteroid, let me look at the name, 212-DA14. A lot of people put that connection together immediately. Well, was this related to asteroid 212-DA-14? And the short answer for that, for the purpose of this video, is no. And we know that for a fact. So, but what we do know happened, a 66-foot or about the size of a school bus piece of meteorite entered our atmosphere over Chelyabinsk, Russia, over a larger area of Russia, and airbursted approximately 15 miles above ground level, thank goodness, or bolide, as we like to call it. And it did that multiple times. Our atmosphere is like hitting a brick wall when you're moving that fast. And so immediately it broke like into, let's say, two pieces. Boom, we hear the first sonic boom. Then those two pieces break into two more pieces. Boom, boom, we hear two more sonic booms. And it wasn't quite this neat, but just so you can understand why there were so many multiple sonic booms, this is what's happening up in the sky. those pieces break into smaller pieces, and those pieces break into smaller pieces. And that's evident when you look at Chely and the fusion crust and the fracturing and all of the stuff that we can see in Chely. Okay, remember that we started with a piece the size of a bus, one single piece. And I know that I said that it broke into two pieces and those two pieces broke into two pieces, but it was far more chaotic than that. It broke into hundreds of pieces, and those pieces broke into hundreds of pieces. Again, we started with a piece the size of a school bus, and now this is the smaller piece that's in my collection. This side completely fusion crusted. This side completely broken and secondary fusion crusted. And this little end right here completely broken and no fusion crust. So you can see evidence of at least 3 different fractures in this tiny little piece alone. So imagine it was extremely chaotic. And you really need to keep in mind that all of this happens in just a matter of seconds. That it just has no time. It's such a fast event from the time it hits our atmosphere until the time it's done burning up and breaking. And then what I cannot emphasize enough is how much of a delay there was from seeing the event until the sound traveled through our thick atmosphere and finally reached our ear. There was such a delay. The sonic booms were so powerful that they, broke glass. And again, I have a piece of Chely glass, and windows broke. It knocked over a few walls. It even, knocked a few people off their feet. The sonic booms were incredibly powerful. A lot of people on the ground, as it came in, it got very, very bright because, again, it's speeding through our atmosphere at, faster than a speeding bullet, literally. It's slowing down very quickly, thank goodness, as well. And because it came in at like a 15% trajectory, it had lots of time to slow down before it gently came to rest on a lake, in the snow beds of Russia, whatever, So, the sonic boom was very powerful. It blasted out windows. That's the part of this meteorite event that hurt people, was they ran to windows to look at the contrail that was left. People who were right below the meteorite as it came through could feel the heat. In fact, it got hot enough that many of them wanted to turn away, and it got very, very bright, and many of them wanted to turn away. I mean, we're talking right on the line of an event that is survivable and non-damaging versus one that is Tunguska and flattening forests and literally taking lives. But to have been in Russia, or even to watch this videos later, this is an event that just teetered on everybody was okay to not okay. It was very intense and a once in a lifetime kind of event. So, the shockwaves circled the Earth 3 times on seismographs and other, sensitive data gathering equipment. It literally rung our bell 3 times. I'm talking very intense. And to me, the sonic booms and the shockwaves and the contrail were as impressive as the meteorite itself. In fact, I'll be honest with you, it's a rather unimpressive meteorite. If it didn't make such a grand entrance, then it wouldn't even be a very nice meteorite at all to look at. It wouldn't be as desirable on the market. It wouldn't be as worth as much money. Being one of the most intense witnessed events, really puts it on the map for collectors. Drives the value up a little bit, and it's definitely the reason why I bought a piece of Chely. I woke up that morning, turned my TV on, and could absolutely not believe what I saw. I was as confused as some of the people who were on the ground. Was that war? Was that, what happened? And it took me a few seconds to put together that's a meteorite, and that's an airburst, a sonic boom. But there were so many of them, and to get my mind around why there were so many sonic booms, and it just became, like I say, a cacophony, a barrage of banging. It just boggled my mind. And like I say, I can clearly see in the meteorite now the evidence of that when I look at the way that it broke and the fusion crust and the secondary fusion crust and things like that. It's absolutely fascinating. Chely did another really fascinating thing that was important for science. We've always kind of had that debate, are meteorites burning hot when they hit the ground? Lots of snow on the ground in Russia when Chely hit, and the meteorites were rested on top of the snow. When the people found them, they were rested on, like, it's actually referred to as snow carrots because they looked like little carrots, little pillars of snow that the meteorites rested on. So they didn't even have enough oomph, some of these smaller pieces, to punch all the way through the snow and get down to the ground. And so people could literally kind of walk up with like a dustpan and kind of scoop up a bunch of snow, melt the snow out, and some of the little pebbles that were left in the dustpan were Chelyabinsk meteorites. So much was to be learned. Again, I had no idea collecting meteorites was a thing back then. That did not happen until many years later, until just recently, just a few years ago. And I was oblivious before that. And I remained fairly oblivious to the idea of hunting for meteorites, the idea of collecting meteorites, or even having an idea that, you know, at this point in time, I'm a member of the International Meteorite Collectors Association, one of the few women, and as last time I checked, the only member from Montana. So if you know, I didn't know that morning when I sat down on my couch and had my mind blown when Chely literally just rocked my world. It just made such a grand entrance. I didn't know then that it would be such a hobby and a passion and a like burning, like thirsty desire of mine so many years later. If you'd have told me then that I would be a member of the IMCA now, I would have looked at you and said, the what? You know, I would have had no idea. I didn't know that you could buy and purchase meteorites. As soon as I found that out, I drug my feet. I was like, no, I'm going to find one. I'm going to find one. I'm not going to buy one. I'm going to find one. And the truth of it is that finding one without actually buying one or putting one in your hand is impossible. So I knew that I needed to break down and buy a few so that I could see them under a hand lens. I could hold them in my hand. I could put my magnet on it and feel what it felt like on a magnet. I knew that I had to. I also knew that Chely wasn't the best example for that, but I also knew that I had to have a piece of Chely. So Chely was technically my first meteorite that I bought. It was the story, the background, the fear, the awe, the fascination that it has always struck. Every time I watch the videos over again and I hear the sonic booms and I see that amazing contrail, and I think about some of the statistics, you know, how close that was to not okay, and how much it scared those people. It scared me too. But like I say, but it also fascinated me, and it woke me up to the idea that that's how things work in the sky. And so, you know, as a meteorite hunter now, I know that most sonic booms are not that intense. We're lucky if we get one, but they're a good indicator that rocks are on the ground. And so, you know, I do look forward to and anticipate if there's a meteorite that was big enough to do a sonic boom, then that's one that's worth hunting. You know, we're not talking about a shooting star that was just a grain of sand blipped up and was gone and there's really nothing. It didn't reach the ground, right? We're talking about if it's big enough to make an audible sonic boom on the ground, then there's a good chance that that's a huntable meteorite. And maybe not a findable meteorite. Maybe it fell in the bottom of a lake and we'll never find it, but huntable for sure. So, you know, I don't ever hope that we see anything like that over, you know, a major population ever again. And if we do, that it's absolutely no worse than that. A few people got hurt by some broken glass. Like I say, they ran to the windows to see what happened, having no idea that this sonic boom was coming. And it was so delayed. It took so long for the sound to travel versus the visual that, you know, they saw the light. Light travels very fast, you know, the speed of light. But sound travels through our thick atmosphere a lot slower. And so it took a long time for that sonic boom to get there. And I mean, again, I know they taught me about Tunguska in school, but it just did not equate to me that a meteorite that big is going to make a sonic boom, and that sonic boom could be harmful to people on the ground or to buildings or to, you know, it just did not equate until I watched that video, until Chely made such a grand entrance. And so, yeah, like I say, it'll never stop fascinating me and amazing me what happened that day. You know, like I say, I do secretly hope for more events that are as exciting, but maybe not, just no more exciting than that, please. That was pushing it. That was pushing it. Like I say, kind of a once in a lifetime thing. And we were so lucky to see that in our lifetimes. And I fully appreciate every time I look at my Chely what happened that day. It was absolutely amazing. So, and I'm gonna hopefully make you some more meteorite videos. Maybe not all of them quite as fascinating and as amazing as Chely, but hopefully as enthusiastic about some of the stuff I have to show you guys. I'm deeply enthusiastic about it, and I try to refrain and keep it within margins, right? Like, so I'm going to try to keep making some short videos where we kind of dive into, you know, 1 or 2 meteorites at a time, or a term or a topic or something that, you know, maybe you don't understand that, and you might just a little bit better by the time we're done talking about it. So stay tuned if that's something you're interested in, and check in for more content. If you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit the like button and the subscribe button. Become a part of the Prairie Pebbles community if that interests you as well. I have memberships available for 99 cents a month. That's very affordable. And there's a merch store available. You can get coffee cups, t-shirts, that kind of thing. So thank you guys so much for watching, and come back for more. I hope to see you soon.